Good segue to
Um,
that. All right, it's time for October Halloween picks. Fives. This is a great idea, and it's all Roberts.
well, I was just thinking because I kind of did it wrong the first time or last time, and so what
I
I
love
did is
this.
like we're gonna do and our five, this is 2025, so I said let's go back to 1975 and do 75, 1980, 1985, 1990, and kind of pick like what was the one may not be your favorite of that year or horror, favorite horror of that year, but what's your rewatch? So I'll have you start for 1975. What was your pick?
Surprise, surprise! It is Jaws,
Never
the
heard of
f-
it.
the first blockbuster. It's a small Steven Spielberg production from Universal. A lot of people, myself included, do not consider Jaws a horror movie because I'm like, it's just fun. It's rated PG. You just need a little guidance, and it's more of an ensemble piece. But it is a horror movie, and it is a great one. And I love that Mako shark poster and everything that comes with it until the end of the movie.
It
It's a
is
classic,
horrifying. It is horrifying and
but
gory,
it is gory. It is
So,
horrifying. But if you're a 70s kid, you just need a little guidance,
yeah.
a little parental guidance. That's it.
Um,
But Jaws, I know we spoke about this
yeah.
a lot, but it is a classic. It is a masterpiece, and the rewatchability. I don't think I ever watched it really this time of year. I'm more of
Yeah, it's
the
not a
summer guy,
horror.
but I
Yeah,
have. I
but
have.
now you will.
Now I will. Yeah.
Now you will.
How about you? What's your first
I picked the
1975?
Stepford Wives, which same thing is this.
Nice.
It is interesting because Hollywood sometimes calls these thrillers instead of horror because it's interesting because I'm like looking at my screen poster and they call it the new thriller from Wes Craven, not new horror movie, even though that's kind of what he's known for, but it's an easier sell. It's better to call Silence of the Lambs a thriller than a
Right.
horror movie if you want it
Right.
to be legitimate. But
Yeah.
so Stepford Wives, I've talked about that. It is one of my favorite films. I saw it on TV as a kid, and it kind of creeped me out that we could have robot people and so forth. So,
Yeah.
and to me, I don't same thing. Do people count as a horror film? I'm like, yeah, I think so. It has some obviously commentary on the world at the time. But yeah, so I picked the
Good
Stepford
call.
Wives. So
Original Stepford Wives is a good call.
yeah,
Yeah, it is a solid film. Uh, we can keep going with you. What you do
yeah.
for 1980?
I picked Terror Train. So speaking of Jamie Lee Curtis,
Jamie
uh,
Lee.
a number of reasons. So this scared me before I even saw the movie. I saw the poster,
Oh,
and I had a nightmare at the time. I was what 10, based only on the poster that I still vividly remember to this day about the guy in the poster.
oh,
And so yeah, like it is etched into my brain because usually you forget about dreams or whatever. So as we're talking now, I can remember exactly what was going on. I was like my dream was I was in the basement and kind of backlit, and it's almost like the Halloween, the Halloween Force scene where Michael is you think it's the sheriff in the chair, but it's Michael kind of, and so kind of in silhouette. So and she's like, Deputy Logan, um, and then same thing. I was almost exactly like Halloween 4, even though it didn't come out for several years after.
oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so I was like,
I
I was
know exactly what you're
approaching
talking
this
about.
guy, and this person stood up, and it was the terror trained conductor with the mask and stuff like, and
Oh,
so scared me to death. So anyway, so that never happens in Terror Train, but it happened to me.
yeah, that's scary.
Yeah,
It's
but
also he's got that grotesque, hellish Groucho Marx thing going on
yeah,
that you're like, what is going on here? It's a creepy one. I haven't seen that
yeah.
in forever.
So it's still I still enjoy that.
Add
And
that
it
to
had
this.
some Hart Bachner is in it, who obviously we talk about Die Hard and Supergirl, David Copperfield. That's kind of I said the main
Yeah,
known cast,
yeah.
but Ben Johnson, of course, but yeah, and Jamie Lee Curtis. So it still works up. It still works for me as kind of a its place, and that I did enjoy the Terror Train, the first true remake, just a couple years ago. I can't remember, and it looks like the original Terror Train, and they had a kind of couple nods. The sequel was not as good, but
Do they really? Oh
yeah.
wow.
So I do recommend. I think they just called it Terror Train as well, but yeah. So I did enjoy that as well. So that was my 1980. What was
That's a good
your
one.
yeah
I forgot about that one for a
yeah?
while. Friday the 13th, the original, spawned a whole
Oh,
franchise of
they
sequels,
only
Robert.
made one.
Just one. Friday the 13th Kids was originally going to be an anthology series. And as you know, Jason didn't come in until three, but Friday the 13th does a good job of relying on what you don't see versus what you do. Uh, Low budget. I think it was like what, 700,000 to make.
Not too much, yeah.
Not too much. Really interesting on Crystal Lake Memories and
Mm.
other videos. When you look at behind the scenes, went into that. It's really interesting. But when I first saw it, it was after I saw like Friday the 13th Part 3, and I was just going to go through and watch them all. So I actually kind of went in with an open mind as a kid. I didn't know what to expect. Um, yeah, and it's one of my favorite ones in the franchise. It still does a good job, and I'll still visit it, at least once a year.
From time to
So
time.
it's fun from time to time. What about you? What do you have next?
So then we move up to 1985, and I put,
1985.
so there's a lot to choose from, but I chose Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. So certainly not the best of that year, but people kind of came around to this movie, and probably because I just recently rewatched it too, that it was still it was verging into kind of something different, and obviously we don't like how they kind of broke the dream rules of the first one, whatever. But it's
Fred
still
Krueger.
it is a dark film uh, for the most part, and it's kind of a weird out there film as well. That there's like I can't believe they did what they did, and kind of some of their choices. But so yeah, I chose that for my 1985. But I appreciate because the 1985 started. That's when we did start to get the little too overly polished, But I almost put Friday 13th Part 5, but I was like, no, I'm gonna choose Freddy's Revenge because
That's a good point.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good pick though. Freddy's Revenge. I can't watch it though. It
Is it?
scarred me as a kid. It's the parakeet blowing up. I'm like, come on, because I had
Freddy,
birds. I
you put a
had birds
goddamn cherry bomb in there.
going.
Or
It must have been the gas.
the dad is it's just like it wasn't it's just the parents are hilarious.
I only saw it the
Yeah,
once, and I was a
yeah,
kid, but I remember the kid showing up naked with the cops in the rain. What was that
yeah.
about?
Well, I think you need to give this a rewatch. I think we need to go down. I mean, this is the
All right,
anniversary. This is the
all right.
anniversary. This month is the 40th anniversary of the film. So
It is. It is. They're all
I
streaming.
think
So
maybe we might have to do a little deep dive on this one.
okay. Hey,
And I know
Robert's orders.
80's Life just contacted me. The one that does videos, so he's gonna be using some of my pictures because I was able to
Oh,
get into the
nice.
into the backyard where they had the pool scene, and
Oh, okay.
I don't think anybody actually has been able to access that. So,
Nice.
but anyway, so he
Congrats.
wanted to steal some pictures. But
I'd like to
yeah,
hear
I'm
more of that.
thinking I think this might be a deep dive
Okay. All
for
right.
Freddy's Revenge. So let's go to so we'll stop there and we'll go to your 1985.
I put Day of the Dead,
Mm,
Robert. It's the original George Romero franchise, not the best one in the franchise by no, by far it's not the best one. In the
yeah.
original three, before they got into Land and all
Hmm.
that, I do like this one better than Night of the Living Dead. Dawn of the Dead is my favorite.
Hmm.
But I did like it because I saw it at the right time. It's probably about 14, 15. There's a lot of gore in there. It was a lot of decay of society. You don't really
Yeah.
know who's in charge. Like these army guys, I guess, say they are, but what's really going on? And the cool thing about this movie is they're actually basically, what's the guy's name? The military guy that looks like Bono.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about, but yeah.
Yeah, Captain whatever, Captain Rhodes. Him and the scientists are basically calling each other's bluff throughout the whole movie. You have the scientists saying, "Well, yeah, we're working on these experiments to get them to respond." In reality, you're not going to go out and be able to retrain billions of zombies in the earth. So that's
Yeah.
bullshit. That's ever going to work. And at the other time, Captain Rhodes is saying, "Well, we're maintaining control. We're keeping government going." When you don't really know, are they, or is this guy just going rogue? So they're kind
Yeah.
of bullshitting each other, and while this is happening, things are starting to boil over. And it was a cool, the underground bunker stuff and
Yeah.
remnants of society. I always kind of like that apocalyptic feel. So I do go to this one every so often. It
Yeah.
it is a good one.
I don't very often. It has a weird vibe to it. Like it's not a movie to enjoy because it's people yelling at each other. People are just at each other's throats. And
It's
it's like
true.
it's not enjoyable
There's no
in that
Dawn of
way.
the Dead
Yeah.
relief there,
And then
where
even
there is
yeah.
there.
Yeah. And the mall, for better or for worse, kind of had some of that fun stuff like, oh, if you're gonna be somewhere in the apocalypse, yeah, the mall's the place to be, and
Yeah, it's like Night of the Comet. Just
Yeah, they knew kind of lean into that a little bit, not too much, but I just
right.
remember, yeah, but it is always history, and obviously the Dead films are always a commentary of that time, whether
Yeah.
how intentional Romero was that or not. But I do, and it does have one of the great effects scenes because it was physical, where she has that dream sequence looking at the calendar and all the hands come
Oh
out of
yeah.
the wall, so which is
Ching.
still works, still works. So
And the Dead Walk newspaper in the beginning has
yes,
been used a million
many
times.
times, yeah,
But yeah, so Day of the Dead. I will
yeah.
say though, just real quick, that I do agree with you with the yelling a lot because there's the one soldier that he's like almost John Goodman for
Mm.
1985, who's constantly like laughing, and then Rhodes is yelling, and you just want them to be eaten very quickly. So
Yeah,
when they do, the payoff is good.
yeah, yeah.
But what about you? What do you have for 1990?
Let's see. I did, and I won't talk long because we just talked about this. I put Exorcist 3
Oh yes,
because it's a good fall movie. The leaves are rustling or whatever, and but yeah, and probably because it was fresh in my mind. And then when you start getting in the 90s, things started really not being good. So,
you
so I chose,
damn
yeah,
tune.
I chose Exorcist 3 for 1990. What did you choose?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I chose the Stephen King pen translated into film with Kathy Bates
Mm,
and James Caan Misery, which is very Shining-esque in terms of isolation of in the snow and things like that.
mm,
I think it does a good job. This is actually, obviously a classic. Kathy Bates turns a great performance in this one. I have read the book, and I do like.
mm.
I'd say probably more. I enjoy the movie, except
Yeah.
for a few. But it's a good one. It's one I don't revisit all that much. I tend to tuck it away, but this time of month, it's good. I do
Yeah.
like Misery.
It is. I remember seeing it in the theater. I remember not say panicking, but probably because obviously you grew up in Pennsylvania for driving in the snow and ice, and so those opening scenes where he's barely the creek, I was like, ooh, it makes me nervous driving on
Yeah.
the ice.
No, anywhere you live,
Yeah,
it sucks.
and I was just like, ugh. I was like, you're going too fast on that road. But
Yeah. No, I've spun around
yeah,
many times on
yeah,
ice, and you're like, no.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that is real.
yeah. So what'd you have for your 95?
95, I picked Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, specifically for the basement scene when the dad goes
Mm.
downstairs. You're like, it gets you.
It's a
Paul,
reshoot, but go ahead. Or the
that's
the
right.
the head exploding's a reshoot, but
Oh, okay,
yeah.
right. Yeah, I think this was like the third one I saw. I saw when it came out. It was good. It's a fun movie. I don't revisit it all that much, but there are some great lines in there, and it does do a good job, I think, of feeling like Haddonfield. And yeah, I'm a fan.
And people, I know some fans hate this movie, and I loved it in the theater. One because it was one of the few that was actually shot in the right season. It was shot in October in Utah, so it kind of
There you
had that
go.
that feel. I just like the look of it, and I also kind of like that it went slightly out of bounds for, it was one, we were starting to have the 90s flat. I mean, it was of the 90s, because it starts with like, oh God, Michael, please don't hurt me, and like flashing of scenes that were coming in the future and whatever. And that's not
Yeah,
a Halloween film, but I also kind of liked it. And then courting, going through Smith's Grove, and some people don't, but I was like, I kind of appreciated some of the aspects of like answering like, yeah, Smith's Grove did teach him how to drive, and they'll they get to choose that every October 30th they release
I
Michael, like,
do
oh,
love
we are
that.
it answers some of those questions. So I
Yeah,
kind of appreciated
it's a
that,
great point.
and Paul Rudd has some strange choices that I remember in the theater we didn't know, like, Michael's coming down, he's trying to open the door, and he's like, he kind of laughs, and I remember in the theater we're like, oh my God,
What is
like
he
what
doing?
what is he doing? Yeah. So there's some strange, but
That's a
I
great
just
point.
yeah, it is. But who knows how you would actually, react. But
Yeah.
yeah, so and I love, yeah, that Kara Strode, even though she's not related, but it was like she looks like a Strode, to me. And
Yes.
but yeah, and one of my favorite scenes, to me it worked uh very well in the theater, or the screening that I saw.
The bathroom.
Well, the where yeah, she's she calls over to the house and she goes, I can see you, get out of the
Yeah.
house, whatever. And then and she's like, he's right behind you. And so I kind of like, she's looking through the camera and she sees her getting killed. And then she looks for
Yes.
Danny and then she sees Danny walking across the street. It's like, oh, this is real fear. This is
Yeah. Yeah. This is real.
actual,
I
yeah,
feel it.
fear that kind of works for Halloween moments and stuff like that. So I like
Yes.
to give it that. Now, granted, it has moments that kind of really
Good
kind of
call.
goes off, but I was like, to me, it was such an improvement over five that I was like, I'll take it. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Five so bad. That was a nice change up. And
yeah,
also the locations,
mm,
they do a really good job, like you said, in Utah. When they filmed it, it does feel like a Halloween. And I've always loved the filming locations for
yeah,
this movie. Just and in your page too. I mean, like
yeah,
the bathroom stuff, the stairs, and some of the other stuff. Just yeah, it
yep,
feels
it,
Haddonfield.
yeah. It works for me. So,
All right, what was your
um,
one for
and it's on
1995?
my to watch list this month because it's been a while since I think I just got it on Blu-ray and I haven't opened it up yet. Mute Witness.
What is
Um,
this?
so this was it takes place in Moscow, and I think it's a Russian film. So, uh,
Strutsky.
but yeah, so it scared me. I'll say, like as a
Really?
here's the thing, any scared me like 'cause, like I'm not the Friday the 13th really aren't scared, the brutality and the gore or whatever, but any suspense or anything like happening in the shadows, whatever. So yeah, so this is on my to watch list still in the next couple weeks. But yeah, Mute Witness. So I might kind of report back a little bit more in the future weeks what kind of once I watch this, but I was like, this
Oh
is on my
yeah.
to watch list, but it's always been a favorite of mine. So
I'd love to see that.
yeah,
Okay, cool. So my next one for 2000 is the same as yours, Robert,
yeah.
and that is Final Destination, which is a landmark film for what it did at the time, I think. We haven't seen anything like that. It was real, right up front in your face, kind of unsuspecting violence. Really cool storyline. And for better for worse, the franchise took some really interesting turns. Some weren't great, but um,
Some were good. I mean, yeah,
Bloodlines, which I I think I recently watched. I don't know if I talked
yeah.
about that.
I don't know
You
if we
know,
did. Yeah.
I like what they did there, but Final Destination is, I mean, arguably the best horror film of 2000. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, so as you may or may not know, I have a huge fear of flying, which is also
Oh yeah.
you, as much as I do fly, people are like, really? It's like, yes.
Oh
So
no.
that's the way I'm gonna go. So, and I won't even get st actually, I should have put that for my 1995 instead of a movie. I should have put the Fox special episode or special show, Why Planes Go Down, hosted by Gillian Anderson. It
Oh gosh.
yeah, I still hear her voice
Oh
when I get on
no.
planes. I'm like, because I like to be getting on like, and she goes, "What the passengers of Southwest Flight 1432 didn't know is they were getting on a death trap." And it was like that. I still hear her voice. So thank you,
Wow.
Gillian Anderson, for yeah. So
Thanks, Gillian Anderson.
and I remember in the theater after the his dream scenes, because it's pretty intense of being in a plane explosion, but in the plane or whatever. That I can't remember. I was probably with my sister or whatever. They're like, "Are you okay?" Because they knew my high amount of fear that I've had, for flying and so forth. They were, I think, just worried for my mental health, but yeah. So
Yeah.
it still works, and obviously,
Poor guy.
Final Station 2 is actually sometimes better because they kind of up the game a little bit. And then the reason I think the series does work is because it is now granted we have these kind of different contraptions or whatever, but we know none of us are getting out of it alive, and I think as humans
Yeah.
we are still horrified by these freak accidents, like ooh,
Yes.
and this is also
And it
part of
plays on it so
yeah.
well.
And I say Final Destination 2 because even though people are very familiar with the series, but I don't know how many times anytime anybody's behind a log truck, they are like Final Destination, like they just
Always.
that's what they go to. Yeah.
That
So
was the second one, right?
yeah, that was the second
Yeah.
one, but that's where I feel like people kind of that have it ingrained in their mind. But
That
anyway,
highway sequence is probably the
yeah.
best of the franchise, just for everything going on. It's ridiculous.
Yes. And I need to because there something that predates this, and it was in the 70s, I think. It was like when they started making TV movies, disaster movies, because we had Towering Infernos, but they'd also have like a low budget TV ones. There is a one that I'd say probably rivals the Final Destination 2 crash scene that I would say is probably even not more gory, but even more car crashes. And so,
Really?
yeah, I'll find that. I think it might just be called Crash because I know Vera Miles is in it, but it's almost the same. You watch it and you're like, oh,
Oh, I gotta
and now
find that.
you watch it and you're like, oh, wait, Final Destination 2 just completely stole this. But if I don't find it before the end of the show, we'll get it to you and maybe we'll talk about it next time. So,
Wow.
so we both had Final
Please.
Destination for 2000. What'd you have for, you had a better choice for 2005 than I did. So,
I was actually thinking about doing House of Wax too, because
yeah.
that's still one that gets me. But I picked The Descent for 2005.
Oof.
That you're a fan of that, I think,
I
right?
am a huge fan. So this is
Okay,
where I
yeah.
was I'm kind of I think I had Descent on previous years, so I was trying to do something different, but go ahead, because
Well, just how you are with car crashes, I am with respiratory and drowning. That is, do not, I just would rather die any other way than that. So the
yeah,
idea of spelunking in general, you could just do a documentary on that, and I'm scared. Like going underwater and not being able to look up and see. No, no thanks. And this
those
movie,
tiny crawl space,
oh,
like, mm-mm.
this movie plays on that so well on top of everything else. Aside from getting killed and all that's happening, there's just it does a right amount of it does the right job
Hmm.
cinematography wise of putting you in that position. And it just gets me. It's just like, and it's a good script. It's a good story. I mean, it's a good film, but it
Yeah.
it does its job very well. And House of
Do you-
Wax does too, which I won't trample on
no,
that, but
no.
it does. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's
Well,
solid.
the Descent, and I still have, well, I have the DVD because I had the director sign it because the director at the time was doing
Oh yeah,
conventions and so
Neil
and so
Marshall.
yeah, but it was like you did when I talk about like you don't want to be there, you know what I mean? Like you don't want to be where these women are,
Right.
and I was just like, yeah, it's still
Yeah,
starting. I
I don't.
remember I saw it in the theater and I remember I was so far down in my seat because
Oh
I
yeah.
was I I didn't want to be there. Yeah.
Well, and then there's the abandoned kind of like they find the climbing stuff and the old painting, and there's just so many. There's such an adventurous feel to it underneath one of the layers.
Yeah.
It works in so many directions. But this is one that I will revisit, and I will
Yeah.
revisit this month for sure. Which one did you have?
Now if myself was like, and on the pop end, I did the House of Wax remake with Paris Hilton.
Yes,
Well, she was obviously she was
she should have been in that. It was
she
for the
should,
time,
yeah.
and yeah.
And we'll talk about, but but this is Chad Michael Murray, Alicia Cuthbert, Jared Padalecki. So, but this film is actually it is actually decent. Because it is one of those
It
like if you
is.
need kind of an idea on how to do a remake without just kind of doing retread and I thought this kind of worked, and it had some of the same familiar tropes of small town and Hicks and other but it worked for me,
Yeah,
and Paris is actually okay in the movie,
she's not bad. No,
yeah,
she does work in there, and at the time it was she was everywhere. It was her, Nicole Richie, and it's
yeah,
like yes, throw her in there, and it does work, and it is a
yeah,
good superior than the original, and
yeah,
it has a really scary good feel to it.
yeah. So a little side note, so Jared Padalecki was in the Supernatural series, in which I watched a few seasons and I kind of got tired of it, but Paris Hilton plays herself in one of the episodes, and I'm like, I wonder if he got her because they worked together
Oh
on
yeah.
whatever. And Paris is actually good in that episode too, because I'm like, oh yeah, she's playing herself. Anyway,
Oh, that's funny. I have to look
yeah.
for that. And
So
Jared, of
anyway,
course, as we know, was in the remake
the
or
Friday
reboot.
13th remake. I remember at the time I had my review, and because I said Jared Padalecki still is the new final girl, and he brought Alice's no nonsense short hairdo bob
He
back,
did.
which I was trying to be funny that he had Alice's hairdo, which he almost kind of does, but I do like Jared Padalecki, so
Yeah, and it is good. And I remember at the time, House of Wax, or a few years later, no, kind of at the time, it was considered like a guilty pleasure.
hmm
And I kind of get that at the time, but I think it's aged well. I don't know if you feel
yeah,
that way, but
yeah,
you could put that on now as a new watcher and like accept it
yeah.
for
No,
being
I
a
like
good
it,
horror film.
and it has some creepy moments for sure, so or
Yeah.
creepy setups, but yeah.
House of Wax, 2005, and I had The Descent for 2010, this was on What You've Been Watching, and this was a
Mhm.
homework assignment of mine that I took the plunge and watched it, and that is Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Sweet.
Ah, you don't like pancakes either. Well, I hope you don't have anything against bacon and eggs. This is
Uh,
Final Destination meets like Last House on the Left meets Friday the 13th meets like Scream. It's there's so much going on in this. You were right, Robert. This is a good
I
one.
hope you'd enjoyed it. So if you've not, so it is kind of like, what are we in for? So we got, Tyler Labine and Alan, is it Tudyk?
Yeah,
Um,
he's great.
um, and this was
The bee,
Sundance.
the
Yeah, I
bees.
think we met most of them at I met Tyler. We met both of them at
Oh,
Sundance because I
nice.
think this was yeah. But it's part is like, is it better not to know what you're getting into, or is it, because part of it is just kind of like, what's happening? Is this like a by the numbers book, but it's not. And they kind of quickly kind of illustrate it. But I think I knew I was in for a good ride when they're at the gas station, and he's telling Tyler Labine to like Dale to like go over there and just laugh at whatever she says. And I can't remember what he's like. He's trying to pick up on the pretty girl, and he's like he's just got that envy, but like, oh my God, which is what would happen if you saw,
Yeah.
you're with your urban friends and you go to this small town and these kind of supposedly kind of hick looking guys are laughing and being kind of weird. But
I love when they're in the boat too. The whole
yeah,
dialogue of like,
we
you need to
got
be
your friend.
sure. Yeah, you could take it. I didn't say. I said this is mine. You better not take it. When he's talking about the beer,
Yes.
and there's little shots too, like you mentioned when they're in the gas station and the chick lifts up the
Yeah.
she's looking over and he picks up the soup and his eyes just
Yeah.
then he puts
Yeah.
it back down. When
Uh,
Alan Tudyk has the um chainsaw and the bee, and then he goes
running.
and at one point a friend is running that and he actually surpasses him, and then all of a sudden he gets killed. It like throws you for a loop, and it's a good movie. I'll
Uh,
definitely rewatch that. That was a very good choice.
it is. Yeah. It's hard because it's never as good as the first time because it just you think about. I
Yeah.
just like it. We got your friend. Like
The carving and
yes.
the paint by numbers kind of setup for the characters
Mm,
works because they do check all the boxes, and it's like the token, the jock, the black guy, the funny girl, and then it just goes haywire.
yeah.
It's a good movie.
So it is a good one.
And finally, Robert, I'll let you say this one, but we were neck and neck in this one.
Yeah, we both had Tucker and Dale versus Evil, so for
Yes.
2010. So yeah, so good choice. I'm glad you watched it. So for 2015, it's interesting because these are both kind of dark. Well, they both are very dark.
I was actually going
What,
to put yours too, but I
oh,
didn't
were you?
want you to think I was
Um,
like
and so I didn't quite know what to put, but I did choose The Witch. So
it's a
it's not
classic.
yeah, and it's not one I certainly didn't love it in the theater, and I was like, I kind of didn't like it at the time, but I've kind of like now, it's the same thing, kind of like Hereditary. Like once I'm kind of into it, I was like, oh my God, this is a dark, dark film. So probably not too much needs to be said, but and I was also kind of curious because obviously they tried to do with super authentic. Did they even use lights? I think they really only wanted to use natural light and for filming and so forth, if I remember right. So it is,
Oh yeah, that would
yeah.
make sense.
But yeah, so it is one of those like same thing. It's like you don't want to be there.
No.
You don't want to be living at this time. You don't want to be with this family. You don't want, like horrible things were happening. So I put The Witch.
Yes. Good
And you have
call.
a different kind of period piece as well for your 2015.
Yeah, I have Bone Tomahawk, which feels like if Tarantino directed a script by uh Stephen King on acid. It's wild. The Witch I was actually going to put just
Yeah.
real quick about The Witch. You don't want to be there from the first scene. It just reeks of depression,
Hmm.
and then it gets worse, and you're like, wow, they did a really good job of setting the bar. But
Take me to the village instead.
Bone Tomahawk there's a lot of Kurt Russell's character is a lot like his character in The Hateful Eight. There's a lot of throwaway
Mm,
one-liners. Like
yeah.
he's just like, he plays that grunting Wild West guy well. But Bone Tomahawk, there's a lot of eerie things that are going on that could have happened, like it were possible, and that really makes you think. I mean, there's a lot of There's Native American symbolism in there, but then there's also rogue kind of hills have eyes like mutants going on. There's a
Hmm.
lot of inbreeding, and there's one scene in there
So you can't get past that
which you
scene.
cannot get
Yeah.
past. And when I first watched it, I saw what was happening and I turned away, but it happened as I turned away, and it happened. They ripped guy in half in a
Mm.
certain way. You can't unsee that,
No.
but it's very you feel very isolated in that. And when they describe the backstory of why they're there and what's happening, very very creepy. But yeah, it's got a great cast. Matthew Fox is in it. He does
Mm.
a good job. They do a good job of jumping to things very quickly too. The
Yeah.
pacing is great. So I picked Bone Tomahawk. I don't know. Are you a fan?
It's like I don't revisit it because I don't like kind of when I don't want to go I want to go
You don't want
back
to
to
see
that.
that
You know
again.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but you did. I do feel like Matthew Fox has kind of gotten the short in it. Like I like him. I feel like he should show up more, and he just doesn't. But
Yeah, he's always Jack
yeah,
from Lost.
yeah. But
But yeah, but that was
yeah,
a good idea to do that.